It may be hard to believe, but Lexus has never had a true three-row luxury crossover until now. What's up, folks? I'm Dave Underkoffler, editor-in-chief of Autolist.com, back with another one-week test drive. This week's victim is the 2024 Lexus TX. It's an all-new model that plugs a crucial hole in Lexus's lineup. It slots above the RX crossover and below the GX and LX SUVs. It's based on the Toyota Grand Highlander and comes in gas, hybrid, or plug-in hybrid versions. It starts at about $56,000 for a base model and goes all the way up to $81,000 for a fully loaded plug-in hybrid version. So is all that going to be enough to top rivals like the Acura MDX, Cadillac XT6, Genesis GV80, and Infiniti QX60? Let's go spend a week with this and find out. All right, let's start by taking a walk around of the exterior on this TX. The model we're testing here is the 350, so that's the gas engine. And then we've got the luxury trim. That's the highest end trim. There are 3 available. So this has all the bells and whistles, all the features you could possibly want. It's $65,000 as you see it here, and that's for the front wheel drive version. All-wheel drive is an additional fee. But included in that pricing are these rims. I really like these rims, 22-inch alloy wheels, kind of a smoky look to them. Overall, the proportions of this TX look very much like the Toyota Grand Highlander that this is based on. But the front end definitely looks different. You've got this chrome bar running across the front there. You also have this daytime LED running light setup. Some fog lamps down below. So it's a bold look up front in keeping with the rest of Lexus's lineup. Along the side here, you can see the proportions. It's about 5 inches longer overall than the Acura MDX, just for comparison, and that definitely pays dividends in terms of interior space. We'll get into details a little bit later, but this is quite a bit larger inside. Not a lot of chrome. You've got this strip sort of running across the top. But other than that, more of a sporty look on this TX. We'll move to the back. It's got the horizontal light bar that a lot of other Lexus SUVs and crossovers have. Pretty sleek looking. Let's take a look at the cargo area. As I mentioned, this is a 3-row crossover, so I've got one of the seats folded. We'll get into interior details a little bit later. I'll show you more, including how adults fit back there. We'll find out, but that's what it looks like with the seats folded. Our luxury trim also has power folding 3rd row. That's kind of nice. One thing I want to point out, though, is some of this plastic that seems kind of cheap, right? That's sort of, yeah, definitely more Toyota quality rather than Lexus quality. You're going to see that throughout the cabin. That's one of the bigger disappointments on this car. We'll get into more about that a little bit later. Another thing I do like under here, you've got that cargo cover, and it stores under here when you're not using it. So that's nice. Rather than putting it in the garage and then not having it when you need it, it's nice to have it stored in there. So what do you guys think overall about this design? Do you like the way it looks? Do you think it's too similar to the Toyota Grand Highlander? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And then if you're curious, this color is called Caviar. It's sort of got like a metallic look to it. I don't know if you can see that in the sunlight. But yeah, fancy name for a fancy car. So yeah, there you have it. Let's take a look under that hood. All right, now let's talk powertrains. And as I mentioned, we're testing a TX 350. So that means it has a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that makes 275 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. It's paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission and either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. The EPA rates it at 21 miles per gallon in the city, 27 on the highway, and 23 overall. If you opt for the all-wheel drive version, it drops the city and the highway mile per gallon by 1. All right, now to the interior of this TX. A lot of cool stuff in here, a lot of functionality too. You're probably noticing this screen. This is a 14-inch touchscreen infotainment system. It has wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. I'm gonna turn on CarPlay, but before I do, pay attention to this row of buttons right here. So when I do hit CarPlay, it then covers those up. Other systems will keep that sort of anchored here. So it does get a little frustrating. Let's just say you've got Waze open and you wanna go back to the audio settings. You've got to do a couple extra steps. So that's a little frustrating. Otherwise, the system's pretty good. The menus are pretty well laid out. Everything's where you would expect it to be. A couple of other things I really like is that you have physical buttons for the climate control. You can see dual stage as well for the driver and passenger. You also have a physical volume knob there. We're in a luxury trim, so we have heated, cooled seats. We have a heated steering wheel. The middle seats are also heated out back. I'll show you those a little bit later. But yeah, a lot of functionality, right? You've got 3 USB-C charge ports here, wireless smartphone charging right here. This is kind of a cool feature. These are cup holders, right? But if you don't want those, if you're not a cup holder type of person, you can see a little unlock button. You can take these out, right? So say you want to use this space for something else, that's kind of cool. Nice versatility there. And then those lock back in place if you want it to. So that's just kind of a nice feature. You also have more storage in here. And then an extra little cubby down there. That's kind of cool. I also want to point out these door handles. This TX, like other Lexus models, has electronically activated doors. So rather than pulling a lever, you actually just push this and the door will open. If for some reason you need to override that, you can pull this twice and it will manually open the door. But just something to note when you first get in the TX. And then panoramic moonroof, nice and big. Look at all the light that lets in. That is a very cool feature. Seats are pretty comfortable. Ours have this sort of suede-like trim on the side. That is nice. Good bolstering on the side. And then you also have this sort of suede-like material on the dashboard. So that's kind of a nice touch. And then you have a digital instrument panel here that is configurable. So you can sort of change the information that it is displaying. It's not going to show up, but I also have a heads-up display on our luxury trim. So those are the highlights. Let's go check out those middle and rear seats. You think I'll fit? Let's find out. All right, now we're gonna take a look at second row space. If you've seen our videos before, you know the drill. I put the front seat to where I would have it if I were sitting up there. So basically I'm sitting behind myself. I'm 6'1", and I hope it's coming out in the video, but there's plenty of room here. I really like that. Plenty of leg room, room for my knees, feet, and headroom is pretty significant. And that's nice considering we also have a panoramic moonroof. Sometimes those eat into headspace. A couple other features I want to point out. This seat slides very easily back and forth. That's kind of cool. So if you need more room in the third row, you can do that very easily. Or if you have a car seat like this and you want to get that car seat closer to a parent sitting up front on a long road trip, it's easy to do. That seat slides forward. The seat I'm in also reclines a bit. That's kind of nice. And then back here, we've got climate control. We've got heated seats for the outboard seats. That's cool. And yeah, your own climate control functions. And then down below, some USB-C charge ports. And then we also have a manual sunshade. Let the kiddos take a nap back here. So yeah, a lot of comfort, a lot of amenities back here, but let's see what that third row looks like. All right, now we're gonna take a look at third row space, and I haven't even been back there yet, so you're gonna come along with me on this experiment. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna hit a button on the top of this seat. It's gonna slide that out of the way. I'm gonna climb in and close the door. We're gonna slide this seat all the way back. So if you remember, I just showed you, this slides fore and aft. So this would be if you've got a pretty tall adult in that second row. And yeah, that's pretty impressive. My knees really aren't hitting. If I sit up really tall, my head barely touches, but overall you could have tall adults sitting 3 in tandem, and I think everyone's gonna be pretty comfortable. And then, like I said, you can adjust this. So let's say you've got a kid in that second row. Now I've got tons of room as an adult in this third row. So that's really impressive. Some other nice things I like, you've got a power reclining feature. So that's nice, a little extra comfort. You also have a USB-C charge port on this side and on this side. And then overall, you've got a lot of daylight coming in back here. Sometimes the third row can feel sort of claustrophobic. Not so here. So really impressive use of space in this TX. All right, next up, driving impressions. And I gotta say, I'm really impressed with the power that this 350 model has. This is the turbocharged 4-cylinder, 275 horsepower. That may not sound like a lot on paper. This is a pretty big vehicle, right? But in the real world, there is no situation where it feels underpowered. I'm really impressed. Toyota and Lexus are really good at tuning their turbos, and they did a great job again on this one. On the freeway, from a dead stop, there's really no turbo lag. It feels robust in any situation. So don't think you need to step up to the hybrid or the plug-in hybrid if power is what you're after. This version has it. Another thing I'm impressed by is the turning radius in this. Again, this is a long vehicle. It's a 3-row crossover. You would think in tight spaces and parking lots or trying to do a 3-point turn, it'd be really tedious to get it turned around. Not so. It actually has a very tight turning radius, so it's easy to live with on a daily basis, and I really like that. That said, there is one minor gripe I have with how this TX drives, and that's its ride quality. It just doesn't quite have the level of refinement that you would hope, considering this goes from $56,000 all the way up to $81,000. Many of its rivals, that's brands like Cadillac or Lincoln, Infiniti, Acura, Genesis, all of their three-row crossovers feel very refined. You get in this one, and it just feels a little too much like a Toyota and not quite enough like a Lexus, considering the price tag. So it's not a deal breaker. You certainly get in this vehicle and feel very comfortable. It's a quiet ride. But overall, there's just one layer of refinement I do wish that Lexus had added to it. All right, folks, there you have it, our 1-week test drive of the 2024 Lexus TX. Overall, we really do like this crossover. We think it's a great addition to Lexus's lineup. There is a ton of space and practicality inside, and I really like this powertrain on the 350 model. It's not perfect. There are too many hard plastics considering the size of the Lexus badge and not a Toyota badge, and the ride quality was a little unrefined. But those aren't deal breakers, so if you are shopping for a luxury 3-row crossover, be sure to add the TX to your list. So for reviews or listings of this TX or anything else you're shopping for, new or used, be sure to check out Autolist.com. And before you go, like and subscribe to this channel so you can get alerts on all of our future updates. We'll see you out there.